Oh, out in the car, I forgot to bring it in. I got the financial report from...
The what?
The CPA report.
Oh, okay, all right.
And I should have invited you to come along, because I think you would have found it interesting. I mean, it's a good report, so, but I think that his explanation would have made more sense to you than it did to me. And you could have asked him questions that I wouldn't have thought. I'll be right back.
All right.
This is your copy. And I got several others. He explained it to me, so I think I have a good understanding of it, and hopefully it might be self-explanatory to you. What I was hoping to find would be something that he's saying that they are okay with what they found, but I'm not finding that. We have reviewed. Oh, I wonder if that was in a separate...
Related statements reviewed.
That might be...
Review includes primary. A
Um,
review is substantially less in scope. Management is responsible. The responsibility to conduct a review. Those standards require us, we believe the results of our procedure provide a reasonable base of our report, okay? Not aware of any material modifications to be made. Accounting principles generally accepted. Such information is uncovered. Let's see, he doesn't say any place in here that they found any concerns.
I'm looking over the... Because that did come up in our discussion, and I was trying to remember if that was part of a separate document. I can tell you what the answer is, but it's not. It's a question of if you need to see it in writing. Is that the answer is that there is no that they weren't. There was not any inconsistencies.
Anything, okay, all right.
Okay.
That's my, was my main concern.
Yeah. And you may understand this better than I did. Is that basically all they're doing is making sure that the numbers line up.
Right,
Okay.
and that's all they can do, and
They-
and that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's all we need to know. The thing that we want to be sure of is, like you were saying to her, see the full breakdown. Laura gave a different type of accounting thing. Again, I believe what they do is they're counting acceptable accounting practices and reports, but they're not for what we are used to seeing. Laura broke them down further and made them so much more simpler. So what we need and what we're trying to find out from them and what you were trying to find out, I was okay with what Scott said. You weren't, and that's fine. We need to get on the same level. And so now we're going to be able to find that. So my concern was make sure that Russell's and Associates says they didn't find any inconsistencies. If they didn't, that's great. Now what we need to do is go back and say, okay, we're fine with this, thank you. Now, what we need to do to them is say, okay, we still need more information. That's all. And so that's what we're getting now.
Because we did discuss he's still looking at the numbers as related to the issue that we were discussing. In other words, he hasn't determined how it's all broken down.
Right,
Okay.
right. Yeah,
He
I know.
says
That's
that,
what I
yeah,
just said.
yeah.
That's what I just
Okay,
said.
all right.
That's what I just said. His is just saying he didn't find any inconsistencies, but it's not explaining how this is broken down. And that's what you just asked for, and that's what we're going to get.
Okay.
All
It could come down to exactly the way you perceive it, or it could come back. I mean, in other words, he could come back and say, "Yeah, they're taking it off the top." Okay.
But the thing of it is that we have the email that Scott said, no, we are not. And if they are, then we can take that email right back to any lawyer if we wanted to
yeah.
and say, you lied,
Okay.
da-da-da-da-da. Okay?
And here's one, and part of the reason why that we have to, and this is where I printed this big mess out. I'm not being very organized. Let's see.
Is this your copy or my copy?
That's my copy.
Okay.
Actually,
It
it's
doesn't say anything more than what it does here, so that's fine.
I was going to use number 3, Frank, as an example because and I have it printed out here. Where is Frank? Oh, it's in my email. That's what. Okay. Actually, this is an email I was going to send to you that I hadn't completed. But okay. It appears that he's been paying these fees. But I can tell you that in no way in hell would he ever
But this is going into our account, right? This is what's going into, this is from our account, right? So, that was the charge, that was a charge. So at least one of these went in there. I don't know where that came from, because there's nothing indicating that it was there. Or this one.
And I'm expecting
Oh,
you.
that's this.
And you don't really need. I mean, you can if you want. I'm just saying you don't have to really figure this out but this is what I gave to Russell Associates. It says, can you look at this and explain it? You know, how somebody that's refused to pay fees is being credited as having paid late fees.
Well, I mean, that the check number shows that he paid $438 there. I mean, it shows that that check number shows that he did pay $438. Didn't pay anything in there. He only paid. So
No,
this is
he paid. This is the amount that he paid, wasn't it?
No. This is the charge.
Okay.
And this is the payment. And here is the
Okay,
check.
I see.
And there's the check that he paid.
Okay.
All right. Now, unfortunately, we have absolutely nothing here to indicate where these payments came from. But they went into our account. Now, where they came from, I don't know. Now, that's what the charge was, but this is what he paid by check.
Okay.
Now, in there, he didn't pay anything. Here, he paid this by check. So here we got some missing payments, and I don't know where that came from. There was still another late fee added on. He owed that, another late fee, and he only paid the $219. So now there's this here owed to us. This is what's owed to us. Here he paid the month. Here he paid the month. Notice posting fee. I don't know what that posting fee means. But he only paid this. So now he supposedly owes that. He only paid that. That's owed to us. Again. And again, but he didn't have a late fee this time. $79.90. Oh, that's okay. That's the accumulation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 50. I don't know quite how they come with 74, unless they just mean these late fees. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then interest. That might be what that is. And then here we're starting all over again. And this is what he owed, and then another late fee. Now, I don't know what he did from there on. Now, this was posted to our account, but from where, I don't know. There's nothing showing in here of where it came from, but you can see the check number, check number, check number, check number, check number, check number. Now, that means he was not paying. Now, here, we never received anything. So he owes this amount. He originally, I'm gonna make somewhat of an assumption here that one of these is paid by a check, but where these came from then, I don't know. But you can see where he's paid, but he's not been paying his late fees nor this posting fee, I don't know what that means. We'd have to find out what posting fee means. That's, I don't know. I don't know who would put that on there. I don't know if there's a bank or if that was TPM. But we could certainly, take this exactly to them and say,
Well, okay.
what is it?
Okay, I was just saying, I mean, I gave this to the accountant and says, can you make sense of this, because I can't. And so, he said he would, and,
Yeah.
but,
Is this the email?
Yeah.
Okay. Who is Gene?
Oh,
Gene
Gene.
Russell.
Gene,
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
yeah. But the reason why he, this is just tax season right now, and he's just overwhelmed with,
Well, keep this stuff. Make sure you have it someplace.
well, it's an email, yeah.
Unfortunately, this is not a particularly good example because he's not paying the late fees,
Okay,
and it doesn't show,
he's not paying the late fee.
and he's not paying them, and it's not showing that. What unit is he?
Number 3.
Frank Rickard.
Mhm.
Well, it still shows that he owes a balance of $421.20 from 2014. But he did, it does show that there was a $10 credit fee. Now, this doesn't show February. We would have to look and see if he maybe did pay a late fee in February.
Okay, we
You
can,
know?
we can,
know?
we can verify that.
Yeah.
And,
So, and
based on the fact he's been adamant that he would never pay a late fee,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you that I'd bet my condo
Yeah.
that he didn't.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be kind of curious because here's a lot of, especially this amount. That's an odd amount. Well, no, it's not either, I guess. Well, yeah, it is because it's $107.48. It's not like he, just $100 less than the dues.
Okay. Well,
But
in general, I think we made it clear that we need to have a better understanding
Yeah.
of this. And so, for me, this has to happen because I feel it's a waste of our time to be sitting here discussing, trying to figure
Yeah.
out this puzzle that
Yeah.
somebody else has
Yeah.
put together.
Yeah.
It's like, make it clear to us because I don't want to have to be checking your work.
yeah.
It's not my job. I want to trust them to know that they're doing the
Yeah,
things
and
they
the thing of it is that and I understand that you have questions on them, and the thing that we need to make sure of though is, God, I can't remember when the contract is coming up due. But remember, if we're not happy with them, if we continue to have issues, we got to start thinking pretty darn soon about whether or not we're going to renew their contract because we're going to have to start digging up somebody else now.
I understand, and I would agree. And
And
if we make that
I
decision,
personally trust them, and I personally like them. I just think that we still need to work on the breakdown of some of this stuff.
okay, all right. I'm
Again, I don't
am.
think they're used to our kind of hands-on.
okay, and besides the accounting issue, I am doing a lot more work than I ever did with Laura.
Well, that's because Laura took, I think she took on a whole lot more responsibility than what a normal management company would. They need to get an express information from us as to exactly what it is. Like they say, what do you want us to do? Now, I noticed one of the problems was with this, the water heater thing.
Mm-hmm.
At first you said, take care of this.
Mm-hmm.
They came back and says, what do you want us to do?
No, they came back and said, here's what we're going to do, which was, we'll post, they said that they would post a message, a notice on the door,
Okay, yeah.
and take away the water heater at the condo's expense.
I don't remember seeing that.
Okay.
Maybe that's one of the emails I'm not getting
Okay.
then. Because I don't remember
And-
them saying
Okay,
that.
and
I remember them asking, this is something about posting, but what else do you want us to do, or something like that. And then then the next thing I saw was you saying, don't bother, I'll take care of it. Well, now they've got conflicting information. And so, but I didn't see that one. So,
yeah, this is my perception at this time that their solutions are, as a business, their solutions are connected to them making money, which is fine if they want to run it as a business. But if every solution that they have has to be connected to them making money, we have a problem, because there's so many solutions that I found out that day within 2 hours that were available to us through the city of Auburn, including the police, including the city inspector, that didn't come up in the conversation. Why doesn't they offer us? Do they know these things exist and don't offer it to us, or don't they just not know them?
we need to ask them.
Okay.
We need to out and out ask them
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Because we need answers, and then because that will be the basis of whether or not we're going to continue with them.
Okay.
And see, and I'm not getting that, because I'm not, unfortunately, having to deal with it, or unfortunately, I'm not having to deal with it. And so, I mean, and that's what I'm saying here, is that you're seeing a different picture than I'm seeing, and we've got to figure this out.
Okay. I agree.
Because, I mean, from what I'm seeing, I don't see an issue. You're seeing some issues, some
Okay.
concerns.
Right.
Nothing that's
I
hardcore
really,
yet.
maybe, here's what I think is valid about what you're saying. I guess I should, I don't think they should be coming and asking us, what do you want us to do? I think that they should be coming to us with solutions and ask them if these solutions are something that we should go forward with, or do we have other possibilities? Because
Have we said that to them?
no.
All right.
Okay.
Then that's what we need to do. We need to communicate with them. Not badger back and forth between us. We need, if we have concerns, we need to relate it to them in emails.
Okay. All right.
To make sure, that's what I'm saying. It's been
Okay.
saying all along. We have to have that email communicate, just like with this thing about deciding what about the late fee. I now have an email from Scott saying, no, we don't do that. And so if we find out they are doing it, then I can call in Scott. I'll go to the office and I'll make an appointment with him, and I'll say, you are, and this is what you said you're not doing, but you are doing. We need to deal with this.
Okay.
See? So, and your concerns are valid. Your concern is valid, and I understand that. And that's, you made a very good point. You brought up a wonderful point there. But I think it needs to be relayed to them.
Okay. I'll do that, because I agree that expectation needs to be set, and see whether or not that they can meet that.
Yeah.
Because it's
Because that's not part of the actual contract. I mean, it's not stated that way, at least. Because that's not part of what, contractually, I think they could come back and say, that's not what our contract says contractually. But
Say what?
that doesn't to say that they should offer us solutions.
okay.
All right.
I can.
That's what we need to say. Okay, maybe it's not part of the contract, but can you offer this to us?
Okay. What I do is I will write an email, and before I send it to them, I'll send it to you to read over and see if you have any feedback you can give me. And I can use the city of Auburn as an example of where their solutions would cost us money, and personally felt that it would have escalated the problem there to be worse and taken longer. But that's of course speculation. But the city of Auburn did solve our problems, didn't cost us money, and it got it done in a matter of like 2 days.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is a very good example. This is a very good example to put it all into perspective, in the right way, and present it to them and say, this is what we would like to see you do in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Find these solutions for us so that we're not having to take the time to do this, and then we can at least get back to you and say this or this or this or this, and versus just one solution, which is what you offered us for this particular circumstance.
I'm not sure how to phrase it, but I perceived it based on experience with dealing with them is that it's all, like as I communicated earlier, it's that their business model is set up, the solutions are routed through them as a profit.
Mm.
You got a problem out there that garbage need to be picked up? We'll send somebody out. You got the water heater sitting on the steps? We'll take it away for $150.
Yeah. Yeah, and we need to find, we don't want to nickel and dime ourselves to death. No, you're right. But there are also a point where we do need to get that place cleaned up.
No, yeah.
I agree with her, whoever it was we were speaking with. It's becoming very trashy. It really has become very trashy. Now, it may cost us to get it up to speed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something we're going to have to face.
No, and I there's no
So,
disagreement
and it may, for now, let's proceed. I think it's great that this is a very good example. Proceed with, presenting it to them and saying, okay, this is just a concern of ours, an issue of ours. Don't let in my hair. But it's just something we need to discuss. Is this something that you can offer us? Because this is what I found out versus your solution, which would have cost us, and and may have taken, may have escalated, whatever, stated in nice enough terms. Is this something that you can start doing for us forward versus us, type thing.
Right. Okay.
And then from there on out, if they say yes, it is. Well, then again, if we have it in writing, we can go back to them.
Okay. And I would imagine that they're going to. It's going to come down to whether or not that they can make that shift, because they're going to respond back with, sure, we can do that. That's what else are they going to say? It's a question of whether or not that they can deliver.
Well, then the next time that anything like this happens, if they immediately respond with the one solution which sounds like it's for their business, immediately one of us or both of us need to respond. But we need to make sure that we're both getting, or that all of us are really getting these emails, because obviously I've not been getting some of them.
Yeah.
And so we need to make sure that we're getting them all, and we need to respond in a very timely manner back to them and say, what other solutions can you offer?
Yeah, because you say you trust. I want to get to the point where or at least I feel that we need to get to the point where, or at least I should speak for myself, is when they do offer those solutions, that we're not asking are there other solutions. We have faith.
Right. Well, what I'm saying, exactly. I agree. That's the reason why I'm saying, if they
go away,
we got the door open. But if we email them about this particular situation and say, is this something you can offer going forward? Make more options available.
Yeah.
Research, make more options available to us, so we can write back and meet and say, yes, this one or this one or this one. And if they say, yes, we can do that in the future, we have that in writing. And therefore, the next time that they do come back and they only offer one, we can say, what about these other solutions? Did you research any other solutions? We can refer back to it, and just keep bombarding them with it.
Okay.
And, until either they finally say, all right, that's enough, or else they comply.
Okay.
Because again, I don't think they're used to our hands-on thing. I really don't.
No, and I would agree. I know, yeah.
It's just like tonight she was talking about, it was in the lease. This is the way it's done in the lease. So they're used to, their stuff is probably defined, that way. Mm-hmm. And ours is not. I don't think ours is. And we need to get it more refined.
Mm-hmm. When it comes to the solutions that they offer, and I'll have to put this in, of course it depends on the issue, but like here an example is today with this water leak. Okay, I can't wait for them to act. And actually, maybe I should say this: give them credit. I give them credit today. They acted in a way that I felt was appropriate with the water leak. It was an emergency situation. They sent somebody out to investigate what needed to happen. Okay. Because it's an emergency situation. And then they asked, then they informed us that we know what's going on. So that to me was a way that I felt that it should be handled, because they were dealing with it as an emergency versus hands off and saying, well, we'll wait for the board to respond because we've had that response in the past. In other words, if you don't want a water leak, set and wait for it.
Well, we did finally explain to them what we considered kind of an emergency versus
right.
Okay, we can kind of play back and forth on this one. So
I guess the point is that they did kind of they learned from that, or they did adopt from that process. I guess what I was saying is that, or where I was going with this is that that when I'm in a situation like that, and there's people banging on my door at 2:00 in the morning, I can't wait for them to for them to handle things in a slower manner that needs to be for that particular situation. And I guess where I was going with that was you were asking about the back and forth of some of the emails that you didn't get. Well, and I just responded back, I'll handle it. Well, that was a situation where I felt that this was going to be prolonged by our email conversations or phone conversations.
And that's where we need to clarify it. Where we need to clarify it. And if we find out, once we clarify our viewpoint, and they come back with a response, and it is a response that we're hoping to get from them, that yes, we can provide this for you in the future, and they don't, then we can always go back also and say, at the next meeting, we can say, this was very inappropriate according to what we just determined.
Okay. Right.
And, and just be out and out with it. This was inappropriate. This is not what we expected. How are you going to improve? Ask them how they're going to improve. I mean, we need to start holding them more and more accountable, providing we let them know what we are expecting.
Okay, right.
Okay? Because, truthfully, I don't want to have to start searching for another one. I think they're reasonable. I think they're reasonably priced, but I think they also need to know what we're truly expecting. And I don't think they've quite got that yet. I mean, we've made certain things clear, but I think they are one of these companies, like a lot of companies nowadays, especially when it comes to money or whatever. You explain it this far, and we assume we've made our point. They stop at that point. And we assume that they kind of assume other things, but they're not assuming anything. Okay, and that's it. So now we have to kind of
And
take it on.
Yeah, I think, and that's kind of where what you're saying as a valid point, because I think when they say, "What do you want us to do?" or because we've told them, don't do anything without board approval. So I think that's kind of where they're stopping at. It's like,
Yeah.
well, okay, well, let's just not make any decisions and let them tell us what to do.
Yeah.
If Okay, there's two sides of that. It's like, okay, if they're doing it from the way you say it, then I find that that's okay. In other words, they're just stopping where we said, and they're not going further. Or the more paranoid or devious aspect is that they're trying to force us to,
Force us to go the route that they would make money at.
right, that we'll burn out. In other words, who's gonna outlast who here? Are we just gonna be a boss? Oh God, I can't handle it. Okay, just deal with it. You guys just do whatever you got to do.
And I think that's probably of course, I don't know how many of them are apartments versus associations that they handle, right? And I also have a feeling that the associations, whatever amount of associations they do handle, I think they kind of get the association go like, deal with it. Just deal with it.
Yeah, you understand.
And so again,
where do I sign the check?
Yeah. See, again, we are so much more hands-on, and so it's.
It probably does make their job a lot harder because, right? Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I want to point something else out that came up to me, and I did want to bring it up to her.
Sure.
It's about getting back to this, and is a large part of my concern about them taking them if they are taking the money off the top, okay, is that gives them incentive. There is no incentive not to have more late fees, more fines, because their business model is geared around that. In other words, if we're all late, they make more money. If more people are disruptive and violating the rules, they make more money. There's no incentive to do what is in best interest of the condo association
versus they're making money.
And I hate to say it, and it's not so much a devious, plotting in the late night rooms that they do that.
It's just a business.
It just comes about, and because it makes more money for them, it promotes itself.
It's just business, the way business is ran.
And
throughout the United States.
Okay, and so that's part of my concern with those numbers, and I just wanted to point that out. Is like, some of it, the more late fees there are, more fines there are, the more money they make. Why would they not? Why would they want less of that?
Yeah.
They don't understand.
Yeah. Well, definitely, good points.
Okay. These are things that we're working on.
Eventually, we're still going to have to decide on when we're going to do the reserve study.
Okay, and we were going to decide on the pavement.
Are we going to decide on the pavement now?
I felt comfortable with your recommendation, which was the I can't remember the name of the one.
We have on that. This was.
It was the first. Shoot. It was the first guy that you met with, I believe.
Lynn and Mark was the second. These were the second ones. They were the ones that were saying that they didn't feel that the cracks needed to be dealt with. Mm-hmm. All right. These people are talking about if they have to do the cracks. If they decide, they get in there and they decide they have to do the cracks, they figure it'll take about another ton. And it would cost $150 per ton. And I was going like, okay, even if they did 2 tons, that'd be $300. And then you're going with the tax, and we're still coming in at $3,800 versus $5,500. I felt that these people were upfront with, saying, we're not going to do anything more than we have to, but if we do, it's right here, and we let you know, and I already figured it in. And this one here was saying, that kind of bothers me that they don't want to deal with the cracks. Or, no, I shouldn't say that. I looked at some of those cracks and I went like, you know, the ones especially down at the end of the driveway, right at the entrance. I was like, you know, and these people are going to deal with that. So I kind of like these people.
Okay, well, I trust your, you know, because you were there with both of them, and so.
Okay, so.
There was one thing that I talked to Vince about this. I'm sorry Vince couldn't have gone through with it. We went to the walk around just so he could give us an opinion, because he says, I was out there with one day, and we were at the back of the complex near the church site, and he says, you know, there's this place where you step out and it's wet, and you're literally stepping into a puddle of water at the back.
Oh, right,
and
right, yeah.
And he says, well, you know, you might want to deal with this, you know, because you puddles. And he says, and then he just explained, all you have to do is run this little pipe over here, or, you know, I mean, he just had ideas on how to solve it, and that never came up in our discussion with those people. Of course, it wasn't raining that day, so they never saw the puddles.
Okay. But we could always
We could point it out to
point
them.
it out to them,
Yeah.
because I do remember that used to puddle up pretty bad, and the people that try to park there, you know, step out, they're stepping into.
Well, I've done it. Yeah, I've done it.
Lake Vecca.
Yeah. Well,
Small lake, but a Lake Vecca.
Yeah, but Vince he, you know, proposed it. He says, you know, you just, you know, dig a slight hole at the fence and just let it drain out. You know, so.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well,
But
I would like to talk to Vince. Actually, what I'd probably like to try to do is see whether or not Vince could come to one of our meetings and
Yeah.
talk to all of us about what he might be able to do, be willing to do, and, you know, and say, okay, these are the things that we're talking about. Give us a price on it.
I think it's a good idea.
So maybe I can call him about that. I know he would appreciate the work. He's pretty busy, you know.
Yeah, but the thing is that, you know, if he can make it, you know, make some money, and not have to really leave home,
Yeah.
you know, I'm sure that he wouldn't turn the work down.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the things that I've seen is like the stairwells. You know, as some of those stairwells will really need attention.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that he said he could fix the windows,
Yeah.
which we never decided upon. And the other thing is that I wanted to, between the Hispanic family, put in a tree there or some kind of bush.
Yeah, that kind of get that hodgepodge yard, whatever.
And I think that if we just inform them that that's what we're going to do, I think that they're going to.
Yeah, I think as an association, we can definitely say this is what we've decided, and they're kind of going to go. I don't think they're going to argue with it.
No,
per
they're
se.
not. No.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we got some good points going here, you know, with her and.
Yeah, I felt good, you know, overall with her, because I like the fact that she was taking notes, and now we're laying Strickland memory, and she seemed to understand.
Yeah, I think she has a more of a accounting background, so I think she understood your question and concerns better than what probably BJ. BJ didn't have that background, and so I think that'll be good.
Yeah.
And I think we just keep proposing things to them, and especially in writing.
Okay, yeah, and I agree with that. There's no,
Because like I said, it's we've got Scott. If they are pulling something else off, we have them. What we can do about it, I'm not too sure. But at least we have it in writing and say, this is not what you said.
I've read that, and I think that it's vague enough that he might try to.
Well,
but I agree with you that I believe it's intended to imply exactly what you said, and if it is, then I'm wrong. I just can't make the numbers. I can't make the numbers.
It'll be nice to get that report though broken down. So.
I guess what the question, of course, she's going to get an answer for us on the, it's like if they don't have a zero balance, who gets the money? other words, if they make a payment, let's say, you know, they owe $500 and they pay $300,
Who's getting the money?
how's it split up?
Yeah, how, yeah,
You know,
yeah. That is-